Well, another indoor gardening activity that you might want to try this winter is to grow your own bean sprouts. Now, you see them a lot of time in the grocery store, and they're actually very easy to grow. And what you need to start out with, of course, are some beans. Now, here we've got mung beans, which is a very common sprout to have, but also you'll see a lot of times you'll see soybeans or alfalfa in the grocery store, but you can actually use several other different seeds. You could try radish or mustard, lentils, and cabbage for some kind of a combination, but we're going to use mung bean seeds today. Now, I picked these up at an international food mart, and basically the only thing that you want to watch when you buy your seed is don't buy seed that's been treated to be planted. You want to buy seed that people have on the market for food. Now, it's pretty easy to tell if you've got treated seed because it will have a coating on it. It will have a bright orange, sometimes pink, or blue coating on it. So you can tell if you've got pelletized seed, it's got some kind of coating on the outside, don't use those. But if you're buying them at a food store, you're safe because they're to eat. Now, what you need to do is just take some of the seed and rinse them off and then soak them in water overnight. That will help the seed imbibe or take up water. And basically, I've got about 1/4 of a cup in here. And if you use lukewarm water, about 70 degrees, that's good. And just let these sit overnight in water. Now, you're not going to want to let them sit longer than that because they'll start to sour in that water. So just overnight is fine, and that will help them to imbibe. Next, what you want to do is put them in some kind of container that has very good drainage. A lot of people like to grow sprouts in a mason jar with cheesecloth over the top where they can pour the water out. I found that this method works fairly well. I've got drainage here because what I've done is I've taken 2 plastic bowls here and the lids, and I took and put holes in the bottom here. Now, I'd actually put even more holes than I've got here, but I've just punched a lot of holes in the bottom for drainage, and then what I do is I set this in my bottom tray so that I've got some drainage here. Then I just placed my sprouts here in the top, and these are actually about 3 days old. Now, once you've got your sprouts, they've soaked overnight and you've placed them in your container, then you want to cover them and set them in a dark place. But what you want to do is flush these with water about 3 times a day. If you can't get to it 3 times a day, then in the morning and in the evening is good. But you really want to do it about 3 times a day. Now, there are several things that flushing these with water does. And basically, if you were at home, you just run these under the tap and let the water go through and come out the bottom. Now, you want to flush quite a bit of water in here, and it will help keep the temperature down on these so they don't start to heat up and compost on you. It also flushes out a lot of carbon dioxide, which would inhibit the sprouting process, and it also adds oxygen that can help give these sprouts oxygen, and that helps them with their sprouting process. Now, get them really well drained. You might want to kind of pour a little bit of water off the side if you're not getting good drainage. I have noticed that some of these will start to grow down through the holes. Now, basically set them back over here to catch any more of the water, and then cover them up. And I want to do that about 3 times a day. Now, when are the sprouts ready to eat? Well, basically, anywhere from 3 to 10 days, they're ready to eat. Mung beans, about 5 days they should be ready. Now, these, again, as I said, are about 3 days old, and they're just now, you can see the small sprouts here. And they're still a little small, so we'll go ahead and leave these and let them grow a little bit longer. And a sprout about 2 to 2.5 inches long is a good size sprout. You don't want them to get too awfully long because they'll start to get bitter on you. So you want to eat them when they're still fairly young. Now, when you go to eat these, all you need to do is take these and plunge them into a bowl of water, and the seed coats that you see here, you can see them, kind of swish them around a bit, and so that you get these little seed coats off. These seed coats should float to the top. You can skim those off, and then you've got a sprout there that's ready to eat. And I would suggest that you don't make too many of these at a time because they're best if you eat them right after you've washed them. You can store them in the refrigerator for a little while, but they taste best if you wash them and eat them right away. You can eat these raw in salads, or you could throw them in and stir fry them, and they're very good. So this is a fun project that you might want to try for this winter indoors.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.